Hello friends, welcome to today's video. Today I thought I would sit down and tell you about my go-to date night look. I realized that when I had a special occasion or people I was meeting for the first time or wanted to go out and look good, there was a very specific set of products I was using and look I was going for, which is this. And because I know I do a lot of product reviews, but you may think, okay, what do you actually use when you want to look the best that you can? This video will answer that. I have the makeup on already, but I will show you the products, walk you through, and sort of tell you what it is that I am going for. So let's start talking about it. Basically for me, what I want to do in going for a date night look is put the focus very much on beautiful skin and not too much makeup looking makeup. So a very natural, glowy kind of look with perfected skin. So to start with, make sure your skin is really moisturized. If you have a moisturizing sheet mask that you can put on that will add that much more moisture, that is great. I always wait at least 10 minutes after putting on my moisturizer before I start on my makeup because I want to give it time to sink in and set. To have beautiful skin, you want to start with a beautiful base. And for me, what I want to use is a smoothing, blurring, pore filling kind of primer. So the one that I have here is the Cover FX Blurring Primer. The texture of this is very similar to the Professional. So I use this not only on my pores, which for me tend to be in like this part of my face. I'll also use it sort of around my nose crease because that area tends to be a little bit drier. I will use it down here because I have some wrinkles around my mouth and also on my upper lip because I have some fine lines there, because these kinds of primers are not only good for filling pores, but also for any kind of fine line that you want to make a little bit smoother for foundation to go over top of. Also, don't forget these kinds of primers if you have dry skin. Every once in a while, I'll get some dry patches on my forehead and it can be a little bit flaky when you start to put foundation on. And these kinds of smoothing, blurring primers can sort of seal all of that down so that it smooths on over top a bit better. As far as foundation, what I am looking for is something that will smooth everything out or color correct everything without it being full coverage. I don't want it to look makeup-y in any way. I want it to look like my skin but better, but still let me shine through. So the number one foundation that I have found for that is my Makeup Forever foundation that I did a review on. I also really like the The Ordinary Serum Foundation, and I've also been enjoying this CoverGirl Outlast Active, used in a very sheer way and blended in. All three of these, this is the one that I'm using today, will give you a natural, no makeup kind of look, but still even out all of the coloration of your skin. After I've done that, it's time to put on some concealer under my eyes. I wouldn't say that this is the greatest, but I don't have a lot of concealer in my collection right now. I've been using this Benefit Erase Paste. It's a little bit on the darker side, so it's definitely not going to highlight, but if I put it just in the area where my dark circles are, it does cover those. And I also use a little bit of concealer around my nose, down right here and onto my upper lip, because that area for some reason could be a little bit redder. And instead of putting a lot of product on in terms of foundation, I do some spot covering with concealer. I then powder, and I mix around the powders that I use. I have a sample of Laura Mercier I've been using. I really like the Ciate powder. I find that powder still allows me to have a bit of glow. And basically what I'll do, I forgot to bring it in with me, but I'll just put it a little bit more concentrated under my eyes, and then just sort of everywhere else on my face. And this is a good point to say that I am not going to be doing any eyeshadow in this look. But I always make sure that I use foundation over my entire face, including over my lids. Because if you don't and you have darker lids, if you have veins on your lids, which most of us do, then it's going to look kind of off and just like you have a weird eyeshadow on your eyes that you don't really have there. I also bring it up and make sure that I go a little bit onto my ears and definitely down my neck so that you don't have any lines anywhere. And then because I also have that shadow on my lids, I'll also make sure that I powder my lids so that I don't get any weird creasing of foundation on there. Now that I've powdered everything up, I put on my blush, and my favorite one right now is this Pixie blush, and this is in the shade Beach Rose. It's a very brown toned blush, so I find it goes really well with my coloration, and just gives me this sort of reddish tone that works quite well on me. I use this quite high and also right up towards my hairline, but staying above my cheekbone. Then I get into brows. I have been using two products by the Brow Gal. I've been using this powder just to fill in. I have very thick natural brows, so I don't have to really do a lot of work to make it look like there's hairs there, but I just use a little bit of this to clean up the bottom of my brow line and fill in any areas that are a little bit patchy. I tend to mix the two colors, the one that's a little bit more red with the one that's a little bit more neutral. I definitely stay away from the dark one, and I just do those with a little angled brush. And then I will use this Brow Gal tinted brow gel with microfibers. Honestly, it's not the greatest hold, but I don't have a lot of brow gels in my collection. The other one that I have is quite dark and just gets a little gloopy and the brush is too big. So I use a little bit of this to smooth through my brows just to try to keep everything in place. At this point, I've finished all the powder parts of my look, and so I have been loving this Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray. It has the finest mist you will ever see. This was one of the dumber reviews that I did because I put on 100 layers of this and ended up looking like I was made of shiny robot material at the end of it, but it really does give a nice glow. So I spray this all over my face because it just kind of sets everything down and makes it look like skin. The only thing is that it really does build up. If you get yourself like 3 times in one spot with this, you do have shine on your face. So I'll spray this all over, but I'll try not to spray like these areas because I don't really want the areas where I have pores to be accentuated with something that is dewy, because then you notice the pores more. But if I do go a little bit overboard, I'll just wait for it to dry down and then take a little bit more powder on a brush and just powder those 2 areas over top just to bring down the shine in my pore area. After that, I will finish off my eyes, and basically all I do is I want to use a black liner to define my upper lash line. It just helps bring my eyes out a little bit more. I've been using this Butter London Glazin Lustrous Liner in the shade, what is the shade of this? Disco. Now, truth be told, I would love it more if this was matte and did not have shimmer in it, because it is shiny and has shimmer in it. That's why you shake it up. But the reason that I use it is this stuff is like bulletproof, especially when it's still cold outside. My eyes water when I go out in the cold, and the last thing I want is eyeliner smudged under my eye or smudged up my eye, anything like that. And once this stuff dries down, it goes nowhere. Even when you take it off, it doesn't smudge at all. It just kind of balls up. So I know if I am wearing this on my eyes, it may not be perfect in terms of being nice and matte, but it still defines my eye line, and like I could rub my eyes and cry and this wouldn't be going anywhere. Hopefully that's not happening, but you don't have to worry about your eyes getting watery and anything happening with this. And then I go in with some mascara. I've talked before about this unlashed one. I need to start using a new one soon, but I do find that this Wander Beauty unlashed mascara is also bulletproof. Like, I've never had it smudge or flake or run or anything on me. I'll do 1 or 2 coats of it. Basically with mascara, I'm trying to darken my lashes, give them a bit of length and volume, but I don't want any little bits of, I don't like it when they bunch together. I don't like it if there's clumps. I want it to look natural because I don't want someone sitting looking at me thinking like, oh, look at those clumps in her mascara. Just the way that I approach it. Next, and the almost final last touch, is the lips, and I have been mixing 2 colors together, and they are 2 ochre colors. So I've been mixing Verona with, which one is this? Miami Fever. This one has a really nice brown neutral undertone to it. It's very dark, but it's very natural looking on me. And this one adds a nice little touch of orange to it that again works pretty well with my coloring and ties in nicely with the blush. So I usually put the brown one down a little bit first, just on my inner part of my lip, put this one on top, move my lips together to mix them a little bit, and then do my trick of just tapping it out to the edge of my lip line so that it's not super bold, it still stays quite wearable. At that point, I'm pretty much done. The only thing I may choose to do if the setting spray hasn't given me quite the glow that I want is I have this Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. This is the most mild isn't the word I'm looking for, subtle highlight you will ever see. So I take this just on a big fluffy powder brush and fluff it on my cheeks and down my nose. Like, you are not going to have any kind of like whoa highlighter moment with this, but if you want a very subtle kind of glow, this is really pretty. That is everything I do for my makeup. That is what I wear when I am meeting new people, going to a special event, going out on a date with my partner. I will also do my hair in sort of curls. I have a curling wand. I just find that this gives a really nice movement to my hair, and it's just my favorite way to do it. The only reason I don't do it more often is because it is time consuming, but I do this with a little bit of light hold hairspray in it, and it will last a whole evening and will still be curly when I wake up the next day. So this is the look. Probably not with this, depending on where I'm going, but I've been enjoying it, and I think that probably gives you some insights into all these products that I test. What is it that I actually use when I want everything to perform well? Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. I could redo one of these every 3 or 4 months because that tends to be how long I cycle through to finding new favorites. I would be happy to do that. Did I say give this a thumbs up if you like it? I maybe said it twice. I look forward to seeing all of you in my next video, and have a great day. Bye.